Hello everyone, I just wanted to do a follow-up video because basically I chose the contemporary lens out of the three lenses that I reviewed, such as the Tamron and the Sports, and I just wanted to do a follow-up and show you some images really. If we look at this image here, the bench, if you look at the bokeh on there, it's absolutely fantastic and it blows out of the water any sort of 1.4, 1.8 large aperture lens, because you can't even tell what's behind it. It's just a sea of green and a few other colours here, but it's fantastic, in terms of what bokeh you can actually get. And sometimes you don't need a 2.8 lens when a 6.3 aperture can achieve a far better result. Here you can see some tulips, and again the bokeh is just dreamy. 6.3, it's so fine that it's sort of blurred out this tulip just behind it, which is about probably 2 centimeters behind it. But the bokeh is fantastic. I think I was at ISO 800 and it's fantastic quality. When you're dealing with such high telephoto lenses at 600mm, your depth of field is so narrow. You can clearly tell that the front petals here are sharp, where the ones just behind it, literally maybe half a centimetre, are starting to become blurry. So your depth of field when you're dealing with a lens of this magnification is fantastic. Here's another one of the moon. That's at 600mm on the lens. 7D, so it's 960mm. So even if we zoom in at 100%, that image is more than usable. Even at that high shutter speed that was on there. I think it was 4,000ths of a second I was on, so I was pushing the ISO a bit at 1600. But if we zoom in here at 300%, you can still make out that crater. So, combined with the 7D, it's a really good lens. Obviously, the Mark II is going to be better, or a full frame is going to give you a cleaner image. But saying that, the lens is really sharp, and I don't have any complaints with it. Again, I was using it at I think it was around 500mm. And I caught this fisherman, and you can pick people out from miles away without them even noticing. So you can certainly isolate people from long distance. We just zoom in a bit. Really good detail, and I'm not losing much at 100% crop. So it's a good lens for zooming in and isolating subjects. It is sharper than the Tamron lens, and I think this picture shows that. Let's have a look at another one. Okay, we've got a duck here, oblivious to me photographing him. We're presently zoomed in at 36% on Photoshop. We're going a bit more. Obviously, you can crop that if you want to. I think it's pretty good, that picture. If it'd been a brighter day, I probably would have got a slightly better result, but it's still quite a sharp image. Next one. Here I found someone, a photographer taking a picture of a married couple here. We zoom in, it's still quite sharp even at 66%. No major issues there. It's still quite a nice image. The only thing that I think distracts you is the noise in the image, and that's all. And we can probably clean that up in Lightroom. But yeah, it's still a good lens. Okay, I've got a bird here. I was fortunate, 50% in there, so we can see. I'll just show you what it's like in the fit screen. I can zoom in. It's still quite a good photo. Just wish he'd turned towards me so I could have got a better image. But yeah, it's really nice. I thought I'd take a picture of a wall to give you an idea on tones and shapes and how good it can be. Let's zoom in on to that bit of moss there. Looks nice and clean at 50%. Even at 100% it looks quite clean. It does lose a little bit of detail, but that's probably the aperture at 6.3. I think if this had been at f8 it would have been a cleaner image. Unfortunately it was overcast, so there wasn't a lot of sun. So hopefully taking more images with this lens, hopefully I'll get some sharper results than this. Okay, and I thought I'd take some pictures of daffodils in this lovely bit of light that happened to come through a gap through the clouds. And yeah, it's a nice image. At 66%, I think I'd be happy to crop that, which we could do. We could just crop that like that, like so, and then just fit screw, and then we could just zoom in. Yeah, it's quite a nice image. Again, the only thing you're seeing here is a bit of noise in the sensor. We could clean that up a little bit, but you know, I'm really happy with this lens's performance. You know, I don't think you'd tell the difference between the Mark II Canon lens in terms of its sharpness than this lens, the 150-600 contemporary. So let's just go back and show you the lens. Hope you found this little video of examples helpful, and thanks for watching.